This is the HDZero battery case, and it does something that no other battery case does. This has a micro SD card reader built into it so that you can copy your footage off of your goggle at the end of the day and leave it plugged in and charge up with your computer. At the next day that you're going to fly, you'll have your SD card with you, ready to plug back into the goggle on a fully charged battery case. No more are you going to have a uncharged battery for your goggle or forget to bring your micro SD card. This thing's pretty cool. Let's take a look. So here is the battery mounted on the goggle. What I love about this is when I put it on, it just sits there in the back and it offsets the weight of the goggle so that my head naturally just wants to stay level. So this really helps with keeping your antennas pointed in the right direction, and it's a lot more ergonomic and comfortable. It also will slip on to goggles like the Box Pro that have a top head strap. And this would also work on other goggles. And I think it makes an even bigger difference on this goggle because the goggle, well, it's a similar weight to the HDZero goggle. It's more front heavy, being further out. So again, this counterbalance is super helpful. And here it is mounted on a SkyZone 04X with a fat strap. And you can see, again, just as useful, just as nice. You can also, of course, just put a extension on this and mount this on your belt. It's kind of a belt clip right here, and run that into your pocket if you like. The other really cool thing that we've got to talk about is how you can plug it in with USB-C, of course, and then it starts charging. And it's also a USB 3 high-speed card reader that'll read your SD cards at 90 megabytes per second or higher. So here's an SD card, I'll plug it in, and then it'll just mount and instantly show up on my computer, and I'm able to zip through these files really fast because it's high speed. Now, when you do this, you're going to want to use a high-quality USB 3 compatible USB-C cable, and they come in a lot of different types, as we all know with USB-C. You'll want to get one that's rated for 3 amps so that you can charge the fastest and also get that, that USB 3 speed. Now, another thing that I really love about this is in the field, sometimes I need to copy a file or I need to update firmware. And all I have to do is plug this into my phone with USB-C, which I always have with me. It's going to show up as a folder on your phone. Now, I do want to point out one thing. For some reason on Samsung phones, it will actually disconnect due to high power usage because it's charging the pack. Apparently, it's just Samsung phones. It works fine on Apple and others. But there is a nice workaround. If you open up the battery door, it will stop charging the internal cells, and then we can connect and it won't have any trouble. So again, just a problem that we've noticed with Samsung phones. So once you're connected, you can go into your USB storage, and then you go to your files, and it's just so cool because we can take a look at recordings. So like this is a 1 gigabyte recording, and it will play instantly. There's no buffering, and I can go and edit video from here if I'd like. It's just really cool. This is a nice tool. It is something that will save you in a pinch, and it's just so nice to have a USB 3 micro SD card reader on you at all times. Now, this also works for other things like GoPro footage, action camera footage. It's just a generic micro SD card reader. So great to have with you. I'm always forgetting where my SD card reader is, and now I'm always going to have one with me. So let's take a look at the specs, and then I'll show you what comes in the box. So on the website, you're going to find it includes 2 premium Samsung 21700 cells at 5,000 milliamp hour. That's going to give you about 3 hours of runtime, and you can stretch that out to an entire day of flying if you're willing to use the goggle sleep shortcut. I'll leave a video for how I configure my settings in the description. So I don't have any problem getting through a day typically. And if you need to, you can also charge the battery pack while you're using it through USB-C. It is a continuously balancing charger, which is important. It's very important that the cells remain balanced at all times. That way you can pull this off the charger before it's even done charging. It'll be safe because all the cells are balanced. You can toss different cells in here that might not have exactly the same voltage, and it will balance those up. So that's a nice safety factor. You've got the USB-C that I just mentioned and the balancing. It's got the micro USB reader, 90 megabyte per second reading. There's reverse polarity protection. So if I am a goof and I don't read the directions, I could install these batteries upside down, and if I plug this in, you get a red light saying no, and then the barrel jack doesn't output any voltage. So that's really important because it is possible to blow fuses and other things, or even fry goggles if you plug things in wrong. I can plug them in any orientation that's incorrect and it will give me a red light. So it's not just reverse polarity, it's also just giving you feedback on if you installed them correctly. So plug them in correctly this time and you've got a good indicator there. You can mount it on the back of the head like I showed before. And another thing is, a lot of times in support, I have to deal with these USB-C power delivery trigger barrel jack adapters where we try to use a USB-C power pack. The problem with those is a lot of times they don't actually output the voltage that they need to, so they'll put out 5 volt at like 1 amp, and then the goggle doesn't boot correctly. Things don't power up quite right. The other problem with those is that they don't output the actual voltage of the pack. So what that means is you have no way of knowing in the goggle display if the battery is about to die on your USB power pack. That's not a problem with this. This outputs the raw voltage, and your goggle will read that value and give you the correct low battery voltage alarm. I do want to say you need to adjust the low voltage battery alarm on your goggle to be 3 volts per cell rather than the standard, which I believe is 3.5 volts. That's because with the lithium ion cell that's included in here, these cells are designed to run down to 3 volts. So this is the cell, and it's the nice Samsung cell, and these are designed to run down to 3 volts per cell. So that's how you get the most runtime out of the pack. Weight's going to be 212 grams with the cells, 73 gram empty. It's also possible to buy these cells in a larger variant in a 6,000 milliamp hour capacity. So if you want, you could have multiple sets of cells and swap them out as you go throughout the day, or have a longer runtime if you want. And then the power output is going to be a 5.5 by 2.1 millimeter DC barrel jack. That is a standard for most goggles. So you'll see a lot of them will take that input, particularly analog type goggles. One last note on the global site, we don't include the batteries in the order, but we do offer a lower price. So in the United States, it's going to be $59.99. That includes batteries and includes any tariffs. Globally, to keep shipping simple, because shipping batteries is complicated, the price is going to be $44.99, and you get to provide your own cells in your country where you're going to be able to source them with maybe a little less issue. So here is the box that you're going to get, and I'll open this up and we'll take a look. So inside we're going to have the battery, of course, and then some accessories, and let's take a look at this. Here's the first accessory I want to point out. So this is a set of Velcro cushion pads that you can apply to the back that will give a little more cushion on the battery case while you're flying. It'll keep the case better centered on your head. The next thing you're going to find is this battery cover, basically. And this has got an interesting story, so let's take a look at this. So in the battery case, there's 2 ways that you can attach the battery bus bar here that connects the 2 batteries together in series. So you can attach with double-sided tape the battery bus bar to the lid here. That makes it possible to just do quick swaps or disconnect the battery if you like for connecting to a Samsung phone. The other way is a more secure way, and that is this would have the battery bus bar attached to it, and then you'll take this and install it, and then it screws down in place right here with 3 screws. I'll show a picture of what that looks like completed. And the reason for this is we did find in vibration testing that if you were to have an impact or vibration while using the battery pack, it is possible for the power to cut out momentarily. Now, I've done some more testing here on the bench, on my table in front of me, and I've got to hit it really hard to get it to have power drop out. So that's kind of a choice that you can make if you want the convenience of being able to open the door up and disconnect power or change out batteries. You can tape the bus bar here to the lid. It works fine in my testing. Now, if you want a extreme vibration resistant install, you can use this and then kind of like semi-permanently install your batteries. So that's an option that you get to make when you get the case, and there's no right answer. It's just if you want convenience and a little bit of flexibility, tape the bus bar here. If you want the most secure, reliable connection, then you're going to want to use the screw-in method here. Here's how we're going to install the batteries. You'll take the case, and then you'll notice on here there's a minus and a plus symbol. So the minus is going to be this side of the cell. So we'll take minus and put it in like that. And then you can see on here's plus. The plus side of the cell looks like this, and you'll put it in like this, and then just close it up. And then you can do a quick power check to make sure you got it right, and it is working. So also included in the box is a hair clip. And you might be wondering, what are these hair clips for? And that's actually a really practical solution to a weird problem. And that is, if you look at these head straps, a lot of times the buckle is going to land up in the kind of the back middle section. And unfortunately, the battery case has a hard time clipping over around that. So because we wanted this to work with not just the HDZero goggle, we've come up with a solution. And that is, if you take the head strap right here, you can pull it and it'll make a little loop, right? So if I pull that and put this hair clip in, and I'll just show it to you. So if you put the hair clip in, it'll bunch up this material here, and then that shifts where this is at to where now I can install this in the back middle without it having any interference. You then install a second hair clip, and it will lock it in place. And I've been testing it like this for about 4 months, and I've had no problems. So that is going to be your solution. Nobody can see it once it's on your head, and it works with any head strap. So I can put that on and not have any problems. So it shifts this strap over, and then I can install this in place with no problem. Give you a nice close-up of what that looks like. So I've got a hair clip going up and hair clip going down, and it just creates a little loop, and you can put that loop on the inside right there or on the outside, however you like. And that solution will work on most of the goggles, including the SkyZone goggle that I showed before. So where did the idea for this product come? So I was at a venue flying tiny whoops, and I have been using these batteries here on the side of the goggle strap to run my goggle. And the thing is, I had to take this gigantic charger for basically a 6S racing drone just so I could charge this one pack, and it didn't make a lot of sense. The other thing is I had to update firmware files, and I had to get DVR files, and I couldn't find my darn SD card. So the thought was, well, what if we solve both of those problems? Here I just use my USB-C charger I have for my phone and charge this pack up. I don't need to bring a big RC battery charger with me. And it also includes a micro SD card reader, which is just, it saved the day so many times for me, having that on me at all times. So that's what this is. And then for good measure too, let's offset the weight of the goggle by mounting this on the back of our head. And all those things together, it's just been a great little tool, a great product. And I think you're going to like it for the same reasons that I like it so much. So with that, pick one up at HDZero.us for $59.99. That does include the batteries, or you can pick it up at hd-zero.com globally for $44.99, and that does not include batteries, so that shipping is simpler. and you save a little bit of money. So have fun, keep flying, and let me know what you think in the comments. We're always reading them to see how we can improve. Thanks. Bye.
That's such a sweet perspective.
Oh yeah, just like you're in the pilot seat. You can even check your ailerons.
Oh wow.
So.
Oh man. Oh, that just sounds so cool too as it rolls by.
Yeah. And out at this field we can go pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cleared out to 1200.
Oh. So that like it says 60 knots. That's your ground speed?
Yeah. So we're at 700 feet now.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
800. 900. The video will get a bit weird because the antenna is not tuned for straight up. There, you can just barely see the lake out there. It's pretty hazy. But on the left, where I'm looking in the middle, that's the lake.
Oh my gosh.
We're at 1,100 feet.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing else like it. Other than flying the real thing.
Right, but...
So, turn.
This is so cool.
I think we hit 120 knot.
Woo.
Oh, battery's unhappy. I heard it beeping.
That's the to the left of the speed.
Yeah.
Volts and the kind of indicator of the pack status.
Exactly. Yeah, we're getting low. Oh, someone's burning stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fun.
this is so cool.
It's a lot easier, I think, in first
Yeah,
person.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. It feels like, because you're so close to the ground, it feels like it's screaming, you know?
I mean, yeah, the scale speed probably is. So 123 knot.
is so cool. Do you do a